Welcome to Perspectives. I'm Terry Bowers, in for Sam Jones. Our first guest today is Trae Rahill, CEO of the Oklahoma Employment Security Commission. And Trae, welcome back. It was 5-6 months ago that you had a visit with Sam, and he asked if you would come back, and you did.
Yes, ma'am.
That
I
is
like
so
Sam.
nice of you.
Of course, of course.
So we're talking about workforce and the transformation program. So what developments have you had since you were here last?
A lot of developments since I was here last. Our workforce system in Oklahoma has been transforming over the last couple of years, and it's really ramped up over the last, I would say, 6 months. Most of that is from partners jumping in and kind of agreeing to work together to really build the workforce system that our individuals and our businesses need, and there's been a whole lot of progress made over the last few months.
And this is because so much is just changing in what the needs are of employers.
Yes, ma'am.
Where are the biggest gaps that need to be filled?
We have about 30,000 more jobs open than people available for work right now, so that's a pretty significant gap in terms of talent for industry. The fastest growing and largest sectors in our economy are the ones that kind of consume a lot of our focus, but we have a lot of other ways of kind of indicating where our focus should be based on opportunity. So we have a lot of focus on the aerospace and defense, advanced manufacturing, some sectors of kind of AI infrastructure, healthcare, banking, construction. There's opportunity in a large plethora of industries, which is great for the state, but it's not all concentrated to one or two sectors.
Sure. So it requires a lot of different skill sets. And
Yes,
so if there aren't enough people available for the jobs, how do you make the match?
Yeah, great question. There are several people that are living in Oklahoma that are coming up through our education system. They're in K-12, or they're in career tech, or they're in higher ed. And those are our strongest talent pipelines. Also people transitioning out of the military and other kind of target populations like that. But essentially the work of a workforce development system is to really engage with kind of what's coming up, people who are developing and learning, and what are the needs of the economy, what that we have today and that we want in the future. And bridging that gap is really the work of workforce development. So it's being deliberate with the schools to make sure that there's exposure so that the kids know what jobs exist in their local areas, and then they can be more deliberate in matching to career fields based on what they like or what they may be good at. So a lot of it is just kind of facilitating. Where we have workforce programs, we facilitate, the match between education and industry, and we try to lean them in to work closer together so that we build pipelines that close those gaps very intentionally.
I'm glad you said what they like or what they're good at, because nobody wants to think about, okay, we need 10 more people in this, so we're going to compel 10 more young people to do that if that's not what they're really geared towards. But that's not what you're talking about.
No. Well, I'll ask you, did you have a lot of career exposure when you were in school?
No.
Yeah, I didn't either.
But I'm a little bit older than the people you're talking to.
No, that's okay. I mean, you need jobs well beyond my age, well beyond your age. So it doesn't just apply to people that are in those learning settings.
Right.
Learning should be like a continuous lifelong journey. But I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to pay attention to what industries exist in an area, local area, how people understand what it's like to work in that industry. Sometimes there's fields that don't get a great rap, but that's not a real accurate representation of that job. And so it's about increasing exposure so kids can kind of get a chance to figure out, oh, that's what that means. Oh, I never knew what that was like. And so I think having that exposure where you've really leaned in your industry partners and your employers, and you kind of develop opportunities for kids to see those things, then it's a lot more of that than we need 10 more of these and you guys are going to be the 10.
Right.
Yeah.
It's more, this is what you enjoy, what you're skilled at doing.
Yes.
And it can take you these places.
That's right.
And they may not have that awareness.
That's right. But a school system.
Go there.
Correct. But the education institutions have to be responsive enough to make those exposures available. So there's things that you might be able to start new programs inside a middle school where it's robotics or it's some other kind of thing that these kids might have fun tinkering around on, and they realize, ooh, I really like this, or I'm really good at this. And a school system saying, did you know that if you like that and got really good at that, you'd need to take these classes and you can make 80 grand a year working for this number of employers that are within 10 or 20 miles of this campus. But without that knowledge, without that information that you're able to really speak to and use to expose folks, it's hard to make those connections. But I think as they start to understand it, especially where they're interested, there's a lot of opportunity.
What have you found to be the most challenging? You received some funding, and you have a center in Muskogee, so you have some resources available to you.
Yes.
What have you found to be the most challenging in getting the message out?
Great question. Well, we're always appreciative for opportunities to speak like this and be featured. We do news slots. We go speak to a lot of groups, in towns, Rotary clubs and chambers and things like that. But yeah, I would say always getting the word out is probably the most challenging, because we're funded by taxpayer dollars. So we're not spending money on big ad buys and advertising campaigns. We're not allowed to do that, and it's probably not a great use of our funds to some extent. So we accomplish that through partnership. We partner a lot across education and across industry, so that when there are things that companies or schools are really interested in, they're really trying to double down on starting new programs or getting the word out on those programs, we will kind of come with them and be a partner, and we'll cover those things and we'll feature those things on our websites and social media. And so we're trying to draw attention to those opportunities where there is more knowledge of kind of what exists out there. But it's always tough to get the word out. So we always just hope we're reaching the right folks that need the info, or that they'll see it and they'll say, hey, come speak to our group. We really want our town to kind of run with this concept. And we'll say, well, we're one partner. Here's 10 others. We'd love to work with you, but it's really determined locally how much they want to engage and partner. And usually these systems, if they're operating the way they should, you can kind of get out of it what you put in.
We've talked a lot that seems younger, more like students who are coming up, but this is really all ages.
Absolutely.
There may be people in their 40s, 50s, 60s who have been displaced.
Sure.
The industry they've been in has changed, but they still want to work. So this could apply to them as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, our offices, we serve everybody. We serve all businesses, we serve all individuals. Some of the specific grants that exist, you mentioned funding resources, we're completely funded by federal grants. And so we don't receive money from our state legislature. It's all based on federal grants, and the regulations and the rules around those grants often determine what services can you do for folks. The way to kind of rise above that and be broader than that in what you can provide to people is through partnership. So if we're working really closely with a career tech or with a higher ed, like this campus, or a K-12 district, if there's employers in those areas that are really engaged, you can do that on the school side. But that's not the only talent pipelines we have. We have people transitioning out of military. We have people that are displaced, that are changing careers, and they may need access to a training resource or something on their way to another job. But there are usually grants for that kind of thing. And so we try to leverage all of those kind of programs on one big menu of services that we say, this is what's available to you as a business or as a person. Some of them, it depends on your age, because that grant can't serve people while they're still in school. But that means that people that are out of school, that are past that age, are fair game.
Right.
Exactly. So it's just kind of organizing it. As
we wrap up, where should people look if they see this interview and go, maybe there's something for me?
Yeah, I mean, they can go online. We've got a website, OESC.gov. We also have Oklahoma.gov/workforce. They can get a lot of resources on what we do at those sites, but we also have 27 offices across the state. They could go into one of these offices. They could find our number easily online and call us. Usually we don't steer people necessarily based on what they need. We say, just call us. We probably have things that businesses and individuals don't know about, and they may not even know what to ask, but we'd love to engage with them, and we usually can help them in some form or fashion. So we're just kind of waiting on them to come to us or trying to get to where they are.
The door's open, they just need to walk through.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming back, as you
ma'am.
promised Sam you would. We
Yeah,
appreciate it.
of
And if you
course.
didn't notice, he's got on really bright thunder socks.
That's right. That's right.
So if
Very
you think
important.
employment is not fun, it's all serious, no way.
We turn it up for the playoffs.
That's
for sure.
right. Well, we will be back with more right after this.